Toyota is finally getting a new EV in North America. If you've been following this channel for quite some time, you've seen this beautiful face. You've known that I've become a bit of an Toyota EV fan, to say the least. Toyota is doing great things in electrification in China, a little bit more in Europe, and well, they've kind of ignored us here in the great United States and my friends up in Canada watching, eh? Finally, we're getting a new Toyota EV, the C-HR. Now you're probably thinking, I've heard of the C-HR before. What are you talking about, Isaiah? The C-HR was discontinued in after the 2022 model year. It was an internal combustion engine vehicle. I believe Toyota got rid of it because they had too many SUVs in their lineup. Things were just getting diluted. Of course, they have the 4Runner, the Corolla Cross, the RAV4, one of the best-selling SUVs, the Highlander. They also have the Sequoia, and then they have the Venza. And so the C-HR, being among those SUVs in Toyota's lineup, I think was diluting things, and so they ended up kind of kicking it to the side. But the C-HR is back, and this time it is electric. So today we're going to talk all about the C-HR, right? The new specs. This isn't new news because while this is new for North America, we have seen the C-HR because it has already been out in Europe for like a month or two. In fact, I think they've been teasing it in Europe for like a year at this point. But finally, right here in the United States, North America, we are getting the C-HR. So let's jump into it. Now, before I talk about the electric C-HR, I want to give you guys an update about this BZ4X. We're now getting a bit of a refresh with a lot of great enhancements with the addition of the North American charging system. This is also the same that we see in the Subaru Solterra, which we also noted also got the North American charging standard. The BZ4X, the Subaru Solterra share the same platform. Really, they're like the same vehicle from the exterior and interior. There are just some tiny parts like the bumper that are changed. But North American charging standard, and the port is on the front right side, kind of like the Nissan Ariya. So when you charge at a Tesla supercharger with your new 2026 BZ4X, you will not be taking up two spaces. Shout out for Toyota for moving the charge port, which a lot of automakers are stubbornly not doing. They don't want to move the charge port for some reason. But if you're going to add NACS, please move the charge port. This is for every automaker that is watching this. Also, range has been increased for the front-wheel drive plus models. Range for the front-wheel drive version of the BZ4X has also increased up to 314 miles of manufacturer estimated range. So it'll be interesting to see what the EPA estimated range is. And of course, if we get our hands on one out of spec, you'll see what the actual real-world range is. But for the front-wheel drive plus model, that is an increase of 25%, okay? Range increase. So NACS, better range, and up to 50% more horsepower for the all-wheel drive models. This new 2026 all-wheel drive version, 338 combined net horsepower. That is up from just 214 horsepower in the previous year, all-wheel drive versions of the BZ4X. There are also some exterior changes as well as some interior changes, like the exterior, the lights are now different. These are also changes that we've seen on the European version of the BZ4X. Like all of these changes have already come to the European version of the BZ4X in terms of design. Of course, here in North America, we get the North American charging standard, a little different, but a new infotainment system. That's not what we're here to talk about. Screw the BZ4X. We're here to talk about the C-HR. And I gotta say, okay, this thing looks nice. The previous internal combustion engine version of the C-HR was a little bit of an ugly duckling. I wouldn't say it was hideous, just This, I gotta say, looks sweet. Now, I'm surprised Toyota didn't go in the opposite direction in terms of size, right? The BZ4X and Solterra, again, pretty much the exact same vehicle and size. Subaru with the Trail Seeker, we have an entire video all about that. You can watch that here in the iCard. But the Trail Seeker is a bigger version of the Solterra. Again, same platform, a little bit more legroom. It's a little bit taller, a little bit longer. It is just a bigger midsize SUV. Toyota, on the other hand, said, nope, we're going to go down. We're going to revive the C-HR, and we are going to make a smaller midsize SUV, really a compact SUV in a sense. But let's just read from the facts here, all right? All new Toyota C-HR battery electric vehicle with 338 combined system net horsepower and a manufacturer estimated all-electric driving range rating of up to 290 miles. Hopefully this is accurate to EPA because 290, not that amazing. Of course, I'll say we will not know pricing of the C-HR. We also don't know pricing of the new 2026 BZ4X. The same thing for the Solterra and the Trail Seeker. We don't know the pricing for any of it. I think part of it has to do with tariffs and also part that this is a new vehicle. And so they don't know what the pricing is going to be on this, but we are expecting a starting price around $35,000, which I actually think is a pretty decent price. Mind you, the BZ4X, at least the last generation, started under $40,000. So it'll be interesting to see how the BZ4X and C-HR kind of overlap in pricing. But $35,000 for a compact, smaller, midsize SUV, all right, that's kind of a contradiction. Compact, smaller, midsize, what am I saying? Smaller SUV, $35,000, I think can be a good price. I would like it to start a little lower. Anyway, DC fast charging capability with access to thousands of level 3 charging stations nationwide for a 10 to 80 charge in around 30 minutes under ideal conditions. But North American charging standard, which means you'll be able to charge on all of Tesla's level 3 and level 4 Tesla superchargers. So good for them. Of course, Toyota non-NACS Toyota vehicles will be getting access to the Tesla supercharging network with an adapter expected later this year, I believe, or early next year. We will see, but that is happening soon as well. Standard all-wheel drive. So unlike the BZ4X, which is front-wheel drive, and there also is an all-wheel drive trim, this will be strictly all-wheel drive, which is interesting. Kind of like the EX30, the Volvo EX30 is also, as of right now, they're only shipping the all-wheel drive version of that. I wonder if we will see a front-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive version of the C-HR in the future, but all-wheel drive for now. Modern interior with soft touch materials, custom lighting, and a 14-inch touchscreen. Compact crossover utility with 60/40 fold flat seats and up to 25.4 cubic feet of cargo space behind the rear seats. For context, the BZ4X has 27.7 cubic feet of space behind the second row, and then the Tesla Model Y, I believe this Highland, the most recent version, that's 26.6 cubic feet of space behind the second row. So comparable size. It's actually not bad behind the second row in terms of space. Now, Toyota has this very long explanation about what the C-HR has to offer. You don't need to read all that because I got all the facts right here. So we've already listed North American charging standard, horsepower, all-wheel drive standard, about 5 second, 0 to 60, which is actually pretty good. Good Toyota. You guys are, you're doing good here. A 74.7 kilowatt hour battery. For a smaller midsize SUV, a compact, small, midsize SUV with a 75 kilowatt hour battery, I would expect it to have more than 290 miles of range, but that is 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour, so that's actually pretty good. So on board there, but I would like to see some extra efficiency gains from Toyota, especially again for a vehicle that is a smaller, compact, mid-size SUV. All right, 11 kilowatt onboard AC charging, which is also good to hear. As we've mentioned, DC fast charging, about 30 minutes, 10 to 80% in the ideal conditions. And of course, there's now battery preconditioning, which the previous generations of the BZ4X, I believe, don't have, at least automatic battery preconditioning. And again, that'll help with cold weather charging. Like the new BZ4X, 14-inch center touchscreen, dual wireless phone chargers with a bunch of USB-C ports, a digital gauge cluster, panoramic roof is an option that's going to be on this, customizable ambient lighting, and then it'll also have Toyota's like safety features, lane change assist, a digital rear view mirror, a panoramic view mirror in the XSE trim, also traffic jam assist, which is on Toyota's Safety Sense 3.0, which is like their version of autopilot. But this is good to hear. Now let me say, the design on the C-HR, okay, I gotta give it to Toyota. Good job. This thing actually looks nice. It looks really good. If the pricing is good, then I think you have a really good vehicle on your hands. Styling is good, all-wheel drive, power is good. I would like to see range a little bit better. Hopefully charging is at least okay, but 290 miles of range, it's efficient, Let's see, Toyota might have something good on their hands here. The BZ4X is relatively selling well compared to its competitors like the Mustang Mach-E and the Prologue and the Equinox and the Blazer. The BZ4X is competing well, of course, primarily due to a lot of lease specials, but nonetheless, those are vehicle sales. And so it'll be interesting to see once the C-HR is on the road, we start seeing them on the road. Once we get official pricing, and of course you see it tested here on the out of spec channels, then we can, be all super duper excited. But so far, this is looking pretty good, and I am looking forward to seeing the C-HR on the road. So we got a new Solterra, we got the new Trail Seeker, we got the new BZ4X, and now we're getting a new EV version of the C-HR. And there's no internal combustion engine version. The C-HR is just electric. And all of them have the North American charging standard, which is really good to see. We expect to see the BZ4X by the end of 2025, as well as the new Subaru Solterra. The new C-HR, as well as the Trail Seeker, we will see in 2026 appear for deliveries. And yeah, look, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. This is exciting to see. Again, 2025, I'm looking to see what other auto manufacturers have up their sleeves for the rest of this year. But 2026 specifically is going to be a pretty big year. A lot of things are heating up now, and that's because a lot of heat, all right, is being felt from 2026. But again, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. My name is Isaiah. This is Out of Spec Bits, and I will see you guys in the next one. I should also mention, it is not the BZ4X anymore. Throughout this video, I said BZ4X. No, it's just the BZ now, at least in North America. Now, of course, China, they have a ton of BZ vehicles. They have the BZ7, the BZ3, the BZ6X, the BZ4X, the BZ3X. They have all the BZs, bro. But here in the United States, the BZ4X is now just the BZ, which makes me believe and kind of acknowledge the fact that Toyota will no longer be following the BZ format. BZ stands for Beyond Zero. 4 is, of course, where the model, lines up. And then the X, sometimes you just add an X to things to sound fancy. I'm probably sure it has a meaning, but I don't know what it means. I just know BZ stands for Beyond Zero. And something I also mentioned is the C-HR. The reason Toyota originally killed it is believed because their lineup was getting too diluted. The C-HR there are a ton of other options to pick from, and it just made the C-HR seem like less of a good option. Now, let me just say here, Toyota, they have the Corolla Cross, okay? They have the RAV4. Of course, they have the hybrid, the plug-in hybrid. They have the BZ4X, the Highlander, the 4Runner, the Grand Highlander, the Toyota Crown Signa, the Land Cruiser, the Sequoia. Then they're gonna be adding the C-HR. They have so many SUVs, which is good. Options are always great. But geez, they have a lot of SUVs. But yeah, I wanted to clear that up because BZ4X is no longer the name. It's just BZ3. Okay, goodbye.